Welcome back to Nerdrotic. My name is Gary Beekler, and I come to you from nerdrotic.com, and this is the Nerdrotic Nooner. Greetings, everybody. How is everybody doing? Look at all these people in the chat. We got Mark, KZ Bay, Matthew Matson, Andrew, Mike Cedar, Josh and Rebecca Moname, Escarche, and Cato 3883 project. I don't know my Roman numerals. I'm going to guess XVII. How's that? Lauren Bastion, JG Wentworth. Great. I'm glad you're here. Loan me some money. Hervoj Mikovic. Sorry. Tatake Generation, KB, JJ, Madeline Skoripa, and Eric Dutchkemp, and KB. How's it going, everybody? Having trouble with names this morning, but that's nothing new, isn't it? Lauren Bastion, how are you doing? And yes, we are going to be here talking about Game of Thrones. After last night, I don't think anybody's encouraged that we're going to get a good ending. There are tons of spoilers out there. There are tons of leaks. Last night's episode leaked early. So that's 2 out of the 4 episodes that have leaked, and I won't be surprised at all if the last one ever leaked again. How can we ever trust Gary again, KB? I don't know. I don't know what I did. If it's about me being on time, don't expect me to be right on time ever on this live stream. Too many things going on, especially when I get a message from Mrs. Nerdrotic at the last minute, and I'm waiting on a guest that may or may not show up. So it depends on this person's time. So that's why I didn't want to announce it, but it's a possibility that this person could pop in, and yeah, we could have a lot of fun. But otherwise, it's just me and you, and we are here talking. And yes, I've got my coffee cup gate. There we go. 420 viewers, 420, yo. And my wife left me. Yes, and I'm still live streaming. No, it's not Doomcock. It's not Doomcock. Doomcock was on last night, and I finally figured out what was going on with my mic last night. The settings were wrong in the beginning of the damn podcast. Stupid Mac. All right, so and we also need to talk about Spider-Man: Far From Home. I'm sure some of you have seen the trailer, and it's got a major spoiler in it. And it's interesting that they told us this in the trailer. Maybe because they felt like Tom Holland couldn't keep a secret, or maybe they needed to, I don't know, ease the audience's mind. But it is confirmed. Well, they did confirm something, and I will give you guys a lot of warning, but it was a way to bring in the X-Men and the Fantastic Four in a way that they will be established, so you don't really have to do origins. I don't know. I don't know how I feel about this. It's very DC to do what they're going to do. And it also provides a possible Spider-Man exit. As you guys know, there is a 6-picture deal with Marvel and Sony. I believe there's a 7-picture deal with Tom Holland. There might be 6. I know he owes Sony one Sony Spider-Man movie. At least that's what I heard. And I don't think a deal has been reached between Sony and Marvel yet. Now, there probably will be. It'd be really dumb for Sony to not continue with this, because they can do their own thing and then be with Marvel and just make all the money. But I just don't trust Sony. And with the success of Venom and Into the Spider-Verse, I think they might consider going out on their own. I think they're creating their own heroes. Maybe that's why Mysterio is an anti-hero and not a villain, or maybe he turns into a villain later. I don't know. It's very interesting. It does give new context to, at the end of Endgame, you hear Tony, you hear the hammer beating, and that's Tony Stark in the cave working on the Iron Man suit, which obviously opens up the door for another Tony to come in, which they've done before. There's a comic called Exiles. I don't know if you guys have heard of it, and it stars Blink, or at least it used to. And it was a bunch of X-Men going through all the multiverses. And they could definitely do something like that. So I don't know, but we'll start out with Game of Thrones because I know that's on a lot of people's minds. It's on my mind. It's absolutely taken over the channel in a very good way and in a very bad way. Because like I said last night, I did not expect to be hammering on Game of Thrones. I had my criticisms, but I did not expect for there to be technical problems and the story to get quite this bad. I didn't think that was possible. And there's still 2 episodes to go. There's still 2 episodes to go. I don't even know what to say at this point. It looks like a very, very slow train wreck, plane crash, car crash, whatever analogy you want to use. It would be appropriate for what is happening. So man, again, there'll be spoilers for Endgame, the Spider-Man trailer, and Game of Thrones from last night. So you have been warned. So they killed another dragon willy-nilly. And I hate to quote IO9, but I will. An article came out this morning from them saying it turns out the dragons are weak sauce. I hate that saying, but they kind of are. What was the point? Again, subversion of expectations. Just to subvert is bad storytelling. It looks like they're clearly just going for shocking the audience and not really going for satisfying the audience, which you can do certainly both, like I've said before. So this will just be chronicling its demise, as I've said about a lot of other things, for the next 2 weeks. I can't see them turning this around. Our good friend Jeremy did a video. He didn't say what the leaks were, but I unfortunately am aware of them. What happens sometimes, as this happened to me at the comic shop all the time. So I'd be sitting there minding my own business, doing some inventory. A guy would come in and go, man, or they killed Cap. What? Oh, well, thanks. I didn't read that yet. So I had opened up an email, and there it was, just the leaks. And of course I kept reading. And so the leaks came out some time ago. It was a copy and paste from a Reddit from like 4 months ago, and they got everything right in the first 4 episodes. So that would lead me to believe that the next 2, which it wasn't really heavy on details. It just gives you a certain act of something. And I'm not going to go into it here. And please try to refrain in the chat. And it looks like that's going to happen. And so whoever wasn't mad after the long night will be mad by the end of the season. And that's unfortunate. That's unfortunate for Game of Thrones fans. And that is 8 years. Has it been 8 years since it's been on? 2011, right? I was working at Technicolor at the time. And yeah, it certainly looks like we wasted our time. I can't do a super long 3-hour live stream today, unfortunately, too. I've got my hat on, which means it's a work day. Got to go out in the backyard, pull some weeds. Really exciting stuff. Go to Home Depot if there's time. It's an exciting life I lead. Let's get to the chat. Oh, we got some super chats in. I'll get to those in just a second. Let's just get to the chat right now. You mean the Russian translator leak? Yeah. I don't know who it came from. Kajetan, I honestly don't know. It might have come from the Russian translator. It's possible. No, it was a leak from somebody's brother who worked on the set. And when you work on Game of Thrones, you work in crews. You work on like I forgot the name of it. There's the Dragon crew and the White Walker crew or whatever. And so that person did not work on the set for King's Landing. They worked on the set for Winterfell, but they had heard what happened. And again, they've been 100% accurate up through episode 4. Now, I don't know if they played with this link, but it's timestamped. It's dated 4 months ago on Reddit. So you got to kind of dig for it, though. So you don't have to. I mean, I'm going to, I know this now. So, of course, I'm disqualified from my own death pool. And we have a death pool going that we did. The contest is ended. We've got all the entries in. We're going to see who was right. And a couple of people were pretty damn close so far. So, and they will win 3 books of their choice, either audiobooks or hardcover books. The first 3 books of George R. R. Martin, A Song of Ice and Fire, which is now just a song of stuff and things from HBO. And Ryan Fitzpatrick, what don't you like about the last episode? Well, that it was a giant waste of time. Nothing happened till the end. That we cut out another entire episode of possible undead Night King action so we could see Jaime and Brienne getting laid and then him inexplicably betraying her and leaving. We got to see some feasting. We got to see some fake drama, soap opera drama built up in a way too short amount of time to show divisions. And they're trying to set up the subversion of the big battle is anticlimactic, and it's supposed to be how people are just bad, just like in The Walking Dead, where it's not really about the zombies, it's about the people. So Game of Thrones, I suspect, was the subversion was it's supposed to be about the people and not the dragons and the Night King. And and that's certainly where George might be going, but you can still give a very satisfying end to whatever big bad is out there in an entire book, not in a single episode. And the willy-nilly way they killed the dragon just for shock value. The dragon was killed by Euron Greyjoy on his first shot, and it was done with a scorpion on a ship that is bouncing up and down. And, and Daenerys was flying to Dragonstone. She could have seen all those ships from the sky, but, they've just lost the plot. Doomcock put it very simply that sometimes writers lose their story. You just lose it. It happens, and it has clearly happened here. HBO should have recognized this and replaced them. Yeah, I mean, I know that sounds cold, but Hollywood is Hollywood. It's a cold place. But they stuck with them because they were the Golden Boys, and they did the classic, to use a sports analogy. We're going to go with what got us here. God, that usually loses you a game. And we lost the big game on this one. And they clearly weren't up to the task. And again, I would have changed showrunners. I would have recognized that somebody strong at HBO, but HBO's been going through some changes. Warner has been going through changes. AT&T was buying them out at the time during the filming of Game of Thrones. I think that probably was a major factor in the budgeting, and they spent a ton of money on this show. I hate to sound like this, they should have spent more. Spent more time writing. Actually, you know what? Dial back the spectacle a little bit. Give us some more real drama with some more George dialogue, which there's tons of dialogue that they could have taken from another character, given to another character, and made it good. Let's get to the super chats here. Mason Royce for Australian $2.99. At this point, Game of Thrones feels like Mass Effect 3. That's what I mean. I don't know anything about it, but I heard Mass Effect 3 was a giant failure, so it's a good analogy. It definitely, oh God, it feels like The Last Jedi. It's the same exact feeling I have in my gut after I watched The Last Jedi. I didn't like The Force Awakens, and Jesse brought this up too. It was not the sole thing that killed the show. The Long Night was not the sole thing. That was just the killing blow. So I saw The Force Awakens and didn't like it. A lot of people did, and it is in no way as bad as The Last Jedi, but I just didn't like it. But you certainly could have improved on it. And it set up some stuff to where I felt that maybe there will be some improvement. So after I saw the Last Jedi trailer, I actually liked the trailer, even though it looked like they were just remaking the Empire Strikes Back. I'm like, whatever, maybe they improve on it. I was hoping against hope. And then I saw it, and I walked out of the theater with a headache, and I had a sinking feeling in my stomach. And while I didn't have a headache after Game of Thrones, I definitely had that same sinking feeling in my stomach that I'm just like, oh my God, it's just happening to freaking everything. And with Game of Thrones, it's not all, an injection of identity politics and stuff like that. It's bad writing. It's just bad writing. There's certainly aspects of that in there though. I I will stand by my decision that played into Macy Williams being the one to kill the Night King. I think it played a factor in the decision. I don't think it was the major factor, though. I think they just wanted to be shocking. And there's other stuff like the all-woman war council where they come out and say it, that they wanted to do an all-woman war council. Just because, even though it made no sense within the story. Yeah, Mason Royce, thank you for the Australian $2.99. Matthias Hernandino, $10. Good to see you again, my friend. One dragon in recorded history has been brought down from the air by a projectile. It was a 1 in a million shot. A mature dragon in the air is virtually, I can't talk, invulnerable. George R.R. Martin. Meraxes killed in Dorne. Exactly. And I guarantee you, whatever that somebody said it was a scorpion that killed Meraxes in Dorne, which had Rhaenys on it. Princess Rhaenys. I always get the names mixed up. Aegon's sisters. I think I'm pretty damn sure that scorpion would be coated in poison because it's Dorne. That's what they do. The Big Red Bear, Canadian $5. The spoilers are totally awful. It's just a total dumpster fire. I can tell you that it's for those of you hanging on, and this is not a judgment on you. Okay, if you still enjoy the show, I certainly wouldn't want to ruin your enjoyment of it by spoiling anything for you at all. I'm just going to say, in my opinion, knowing what I know, if it happens, it's bloody awful. Bloody awful. Me, $2. What is the future of entertainment? Independent. There's going to be a wave of independence. It's already happening. I've given this a lot of thought. It's already happening. The streaming wars will collapse under their own weight because there'll be too many streaming services. I mean, the money that Disney has put into its streaming service, and then they just bought Hulu, which has a platform that's, damn near ready to go. I mean, honestly, why would you continue with their own when you had Hulu? If you own Hulu outright, you own the patents, you own the menus, you own the platform. Why make your own at this point? Save some money. The one thing I know through a friend of mine who was a co-host, and he's still like one of my best friends, John Reed, who worked down at Netflix in the early days. He works in metadata. He worked on the Disney streaming service. He worked on Ultraviolet. And he told me the amount of work that Netflix has been putting into their platform for a decade, that everybody's behind. Everybody's behind. Like Netflix and Amazon are actually, Amazon's behind Netflix too. Netflix is light years ahead of everybody as far as streaming good content. Their 4K looks beautiful. Alter Carbon on a 4K TV just looks gorgeous. So the future of entertainment is independent people. If YouTube is stupid and starts shutting people down, then that could change. But you can now make your own web series here on YouTube and just get going, get some friends together and get going. You can make your own show. It's interactive entertainment. I can talk to you here. I get direct feedback from my audience, good and bad, and it doesn't go through anybody. It goes right to me and I read it. So the future is independent, where I think there's a way, and this happens, it happened in music when music got too bloated. It happened in blockbuster films in the 90s when they got too bloated and terrible. And things go in cycles. So that's what I think is coming up. I think genre is going to get too expensive to keep going. I was watching Bruce Campbell do a Q&A. He was doing a Q&A here in San Francisco at the Castro Theater for Evil Dead 2, which was like brilliant. So brilliant watching him talk about it. And he said the producers in Hollywood can't wait for superhero films and genre films to be done. The minute something successful happens that is cheaper, they will be running from genre film because it's so damn expensive. Why do you think Hollywood was just beside themselves with reality television? The producers were, not the writers or the actors, but the producers were, because it was cheap, and it caused a writer's strike, and it put, you know, Hollywood to screeching halt. And honestly, they haven't totally recovered from that, because they're still going through what the music industry went through with the whole digital thing. Now they're not going to collapse. They weren't as dumb as the music industry was, but they're still using old models that, you know, and I don't have an answer for it. You know, that's why they get paid the big bucks. I'm just kind of watching it happen. Ryan, 50 pounds. Jesus. Thank you, Ryan. Theory. Judging the execution this season, it's clear HBO is trying to compress enormous amount of detail and content into a short amount of time. Why? I'd imagine at this point, the bean counters. You are 100% correct. While I said previously that agenda was driving the show, I sit corrected. It is clear that it is money, and they felt that people would watch whatever we put out. Why should we put out that extra effort in the end? And, you know, legacy be damned. Legacy be damned. And they're obviously not worried about it. And, you know, again, who can argue with them? We're sitting there complaining about Captain Marvel, and we're complaining about Game of Thrones, and they are just making money. That's all they're doing. So it's hard. It's hard to be in the minority on this, but I say how I feel. I wanted a good conclusion to Game of Thrones, because I'm not going to get one in the books. And I've spent a stupid amount of time on both the show and the books. Richard Weffus for $5. Coffee cup, lazy and malicious. They just don't care, from the writing to the direction. Yes. And Dan and Dave, just, you know what? It went to their head. I don't know if anybody tells them no. They started the show that was supposed to buck trends and break tropes, became basic, and then they tried to go back and break tropes and buck trends, but in a basic way. And like I said last night, they should have just leaned very heavily into being basic, fighting the Night King for the and the realm was at stake, and everybody coming together, and not totally have a Disney happy ending, you know, have like, oh, I don't know, Jon or Daenerys die at the end in battle, dying heroically, and just give us a normal story. And I think pretty much everybody would have been happy, but they tried to get, you know, they tried to get clever, and they weren't. Phil McCracken, $5. I've read the spoilers after avoiding them until now, and if true, this is the worst ending in television history, hands down. Yes, they are going, like I said last night, jumping the shark has been retired. It will now be whatever this act is at the end. I will have my review video out tomorrow morning. I'm going to work on it after this live stream. And then I'll pop out another one later that I on a couple of theories. I'm not going to do Jeremy's already done one, and I don't want to do anything about the spoilers. I'm just going to talk about the show as it comes out. Everybody's going to find out in a couple weeks anyway. But I don't blame you for looking at spoilers, because at this point it's like, who cares? Also, if anybody, just fair warning, because I've watched, there's a guy called the Freaky Doctor that the free folk know about, and he's been running Game of Thrones spoilers for years now, and HBO, not every time he mentions one, they knock his video down. And he's out of Spain, I think, so you have to translate his videos. But yeah, it's just not a good idea. It's not a good idea. It's not worth it. So Jeremy, of course, was smart. Richard Weffus for $5. Jon Snow not saying goodbye to Ghost is like Leia walking past Chewie at the end of episode 7. Yes. It was terrible. Doomcock, or did you mention that, Richard, last night? Yeah, I think it's awful. It was just like, we need to explain Ghost. It's almost like they put that in later, like they forgot, and they're like, oh, we got to say goodbye to Ghost somehow. Let's just give him the Tormund. Again, trying to break tropes and trends, and they send him off with Tormund so he can have a happy ending. A Ghost ain't going out like that. I can see the dire wolves dying, but like in battle. Oh, what a waste. What a waste. See, the whole deal was with Game of Thrones. We were starting out with a fantasy series where magic is gone. It's a thing of the past. It's been gone so long. They're starting to think, well, I mean, they knew it existed, but it's just not coming back. Magic died with the dragons. The dragons are gone. It's turning into like a normal world. And then magic starts creeping its way back, and it's supposed to get more intense as it goes on. And you see the magic is just a bad thing. Anytime you wield it, there's major consequences to your life. Melisandre, they didn't even get into the fact that, she's a red priestess for R'hllor. She's a slave. The Lord of Light buys children to raise in their religion as slaves. And her name was Melanie, not Melisandre. RX7FD9782, $5. New viewer, thanks to Geeks and Gamers. I dig. Oh, wow. Thanks. Good to see you come over here from the Fandom Menace. I dig your live streams, and Exozone was awesome last night. Oh, great. Thank you. Also, you're making me really thankful I'm not a Game of Thrones fan. You didn't waste your time. And again, I apologize to anybody I ever got into this show. And what the worst part about it is that I used to argue with people who weren't into the show and said it was a waste of time. And they were right. Thank you, RX7. Phil McCracken again, $5. Walking Dead died for me after season 6 cliffhanger. Game of Thrones murdered itself. Yep. I used to like The Walking Dead quite a bit. But you know what? I dipped out. It was because of the comics. I just realized, I'm like, where's this going to go? Is it just going to, where's it going to go? I don't think it's going to end cleanly. And I don't know. I'm just not into, they lived, they did some things, and then they died. And the things that they were fighting against still happened, but we don't know what happened because it's a slice of life. I'm not really into that. Aaron, thank you, Phil. A silhouetted animator for $5. Aaron Taylor Johnson may be our next Batman. He's a major front runner right now, along with Nicholas Hoult, who I doubt would get the part. Aaron Taylor Johnson. I don't know. I don't know my actors' names anymore, so I'm gonna have to look that up. Of course, he's English. Yeah, I knew they would get another Brit to play Batman. What is up with that? Why is a Brit playing Superman? Why is a Brit playing Spider-Man? Why did we already have a Brit Batman? And now we're going to have another Brit play Batman. Do they not want to hire white American males for some reason? Because last time I checked, we're a much bigger country with more people. He looks okay. I got no problems with that. But other than he's a Brit, just curious about that. Justin, nothing against my Brit friends, by the way. If they cast an American to play Doctor Who, I would spurg the hell out. An American should never play that role. Batman should, I don't know. Brother Malachi, $5. Have you heard of the Emo Meals commercial that BK has just done? They're exploiting mental health awareness to sell burgers. What? Emo Meals. I'll have to look at that. Wow. Brother Malachi, I'm just not surprised at this point. I mean, after that Pepsi commercial and the Gillette commercial, I'm just like, yep. Just the older you get, the weirder life gets. That's all. Lee Crystal One, $5. An idea. The giant bows have a limited degree of fire. I'm sure they can't fire at a high angle. A dragon attack from high above should work. Well, apparently these scorpions, you can just roll them onto a ship and they can shoot other ships. Honestly, I don't know why you'd bother with trebuchets or anything. I would just make a bunch of scorpions and start firing them all the time. Yeah, I think the dragon's going to have a bunch of plot armor now. The dragon's going to survive. They're not going to kill. Drogon's going to survive. Night Wish Fan 1991, $5. Never in my life did I think I'd walk away from Game of Thrones episode thinking more characters needed to die. Thanks, Long Night, right? Oh man, that is hilarious. Bjorn, 50 Swedish crowns. Thank you. Maximum range for a Roman a ballista is okay. So it's called is it a ballista or a ballista? Ballista was 500 yards, and that is after a few hundred years of improvements. So that's 5 football fields, and that's not even saying like how high it could in the air, and you can't reload these things. They didn't always fire off perfectly too. Yeah. Those Romans were smart though, man. Those freaking Romans. Max Lester for $2. Season 6 of Lost all over again. Mythology thrown out. And yeah, Doomcock and I were both talking about that last. You got to work within the mythology you created in your own universe. And when you start crapping all over your own rules, which Star Trek Discovery famously did like within 2 episodes, it really, that's that thing. If you don't read thousands of comics like I did, or read a bunch of books, and if you're not basically a hardcore nerd, that's not the kind of thing you're going to notice. You're going to go, something feels off about this. I don't know what it is. And it's the show not following its own rules. Simple as that. Sarah Max, 149 rubles, not Game of Thrones, but a Song of Ice and Fire from Russia with Love. Ah, my Russian friends. We all know, Sarah Max, that everybody in Russia is busy downvoting The Last Jedi and Doctor Who. So you better get back to that. CF, $5. My entire office Game of Thrones group, men and women of all ages, are enraged as to how lazy the writing is and how the season is clearly a disaster. CF, yes, that actually, we've been giving the normies a lot of crap, but I've got to dial that back a little bit. I've got to, because again, I talked about Rob has a podcast. I've been seeing other podcasts of normies who are completely pissed about this show. So, I think everybody's coming around. Now, I didn't see Collider's review this week. I'm going to watch it after the live stream. I'm sure they loved it. I'm sure it was just the greatest thing ever. And it's the fans' fault for having expectations and theories. Honestly, if I see another effing creative, just besmirch fans for having theories, we should, I don't know, boycott that creative. That's the best part about an overarching story, is having theories. It's part of the fun. It's why people gather together to watch your show, because they discuss their theories. It's fun. And if you're crapping on people's fun about the thing you're creating, that's, they don't deserve your money at that point. They don't deserve my money. They don't deserve your time. It's way too valuable. Spend it with somebody who will respect you. Alexandra M for £5. A shame Jamie getting laid with Brienne devalue her knighting. It kind of did. That was on my mind. People of Westeros will now think Jamie knighted her for a quick affair. Ridiculous. And there is people in Westeros who would not recognize her knighting from Jamie anyway, because she's a woman, for one, and that she got it from the Kingslayer, who was the one man without honor. Father of the Year, $2. Love your show. How can we find the spoilers? I can't give you direct direction here, or I will get in a lot of trouble. It's called the Free Folk Reddit. So go to Reddit, go to the Free Folk, and do some digging, do some searching, and you can find them. That's as far as I can say. I think they're there, but I'm not sure. I'm not 100% sure. But again, these spoilers do not offer details. Like, they don't give context. So that is important. Lord Aradel for £5. Meraxus was hit in the eye by a unlucky scorpion bolt. It didn't penetrate the dragon's armor. Gotcha. I've only I haven't done a full on reading of Fire and Blood, so I need to eventually get through that, and that I'm sure that's in there. And there's also I mean, it's a lucky shot, but it's kind of how the universe works in A Song of Ice and Fire. And yes, it was a lucky shot, but it was definitely meant to happen. It might be whatever gods in George R. R. Martin's world. It's their sixth sense of humor. And this also goes back to Dorne's history with Valeria, because everything runs in cycles in A Song of Ice and Fire. I don't want to get in the weeds on that, but there is a long ass history between Dorne. They are the last of a people that were in battle with Valeria a long time ago. And that's why they're very different. They have princes. They're almost an autonomous country within the Seven Kingdoms. They bent the knee, but the King's Landing doesn't hold a lot of sway over Dorne. Plus, it's kind of like a desert region that they don't really give two craps about. And the funny thing is, Dorne is a coastal country, and they don't really have much of a navy for some reason, which never made sense to me, but they just don't. So they're not really considered the biggest threat, but you don't invade them. They are really good at defending their borders. That and the reeds in the neck are like two. Dorne and the reeds are like two armies. You don't want to go to their house and F with them, or they will destroy you. Dragons or not. They're dirty, scrappy fighters, and that's what's great about them. Dominic Toma for 10.99 pounds. Hey man, just wanted to tell you how much I enjoy your rants. Thank you. Stay awesome. Also, effing Rodelax and Ambiot. Effing Rodelax and Ambot Balliste. I don't even know how to pronounce that. I'm gonna have to look that up, but yes, it's got the aimbots, that's for sure. Hang on, I will figure that out. All this time, and I bet you if I hear it, I'm gonna go, oh yeah, I've heard that word before. It's really easy to do here. Here it is. Ballista. Okay, so I was saying it right. There we go. Good old YouTube. It's got those little videos that help you pronounce words, so you can say words like words, Here we go. Back to the super chats. Where was I? Scott. Nightwish fan 1991 $5. Should I start reading the books now, or am I going to be wasting my time there? I feel so cheated at this point. That's a good question. Have you read The Expanse? I'd say read The Expanse. Read Tolkien. The answer is this. If George comes out with Winds of Winter this year, if it comes out in like September of this year, go ahead and start reading the books. I think we'll get some sort of resolution. If that book does not hit the streets this year, don't. So wait a few months. What do you think the odds are Dan and Dave can stick the landing? 10-1, 50-1? There's got to be a chance, even a very, very small one. 1,000-1. Sure, there's a chance. There's also a chance that I could sprout some wings and start flying. It's not completely impossible. It's just very, very, very improbable. Albert, thank you, Elliot. Albert, 2 pounds. Just read the leaks. It's awful. It's freaking awful. I'm just going to tell people you don't even need to read the leaks. It's in the back of your mind already. You've already seen last night's episode. You see where it's going. It's going exactly where you think it's going. Guy punched in the balls in the new Spidey trailer. What the fuck? Nathan O'Brien, is that by MJ? Did I see that right? That she punched a tourist in the balls. Yeah, like I said, we're gonna start seeing more of the woke stuff, especially through Zenyatta Mandata, who plays MJ. And I will get to that. I will get to my major problems with. I know a lot of people like Tom Holland as Spider-Man, and he's fine as Spider-Man. He's fine. But I really don't like what the MCU has done with this character. But I'll get into that. Scott Williams, $5. I want Hot Pie to lead a revolt, establish a republic, and become the president of Westeros. Yes. And he can make a little Iron Throne cake. Project. Hang on a second. Let me get this Roman numeral right. I just don't know my Roman numerals off the top of my head, unfortunately. Is what? 17 cardinal rule. Project 17, $2. The way Rhaegar died was moronic. It was moronic. It was cheap. It was lazy. I mean, like, Euron is a mustache twirling villain. You're not supposed to have that in this show. He's ridiculously stupid. The thing is, and I haven't heard any interviews or even bothered to look what was George's motivations for putting Euron Greyjoy in the book. But the book Euron, this is just my thoughts. I could be totally wrong, but I would feel that George felt like it needed another villain. So he's all, I'm going to do a real villain. I'm going to make a real villain who's like really bad. In this story full of shades of gray, I'm going to give you a legit villain. And that's what he did. And he's good. Dan and Dave could have taken everything he had done and explained it in a single 2-minute of screen time conversation between somebody like Theon going, oh man, my uncle's bad. Oof, man, let me tell you, he diddled me and my sister and he diddled his brothers. Then my dad exiled him. So he supposedly went to Valeria. He lost his eye. He came back. He does a little magic. He's in the blood magic. He rips out the tongues of all of his crew. Yeah. And that King's Moot scene, which I'm sure nobody remembers from the show because it was that lame, is one of the best chapters in the book. Just absolutely. Beneath Naga's bones, there will be a King's Moot. No godless man shall sit the sea stone chair. Appearance of freedom. Can you point a direction on where we might find spoilers? That's dangerous for me to do. It's very dangerous for me to do. But where you don't want to look for them is at the Free Folk Reddit. Cody Johnson, 99. Thank you for the 99-cent super chat. Richard Weffes, $5. Final scene. All the prospective rulers, Jon, Dany, Cersei, etc., sitting at a table in a throne room, staring at each other and eating. Fade to black. Not quite. No, that's not it. But that's close. No, but it might be better. Cop Tour Renegade for £5. British are just better actors, and isn't Bruce Wayne's heritage English anyway? Well, I'll agree that you're better actors. Well, a lot of us have English heritage. I do. Batman should be played by an American, just like Doctor Who should be played by a Brit. But they're not going to listen to me. I'm just curious, if it was just Batman, it'd be fine, but it's like the three biggest superheroes, and I'm talking in terms of comic books. It might be different in the MCU now, but the three biggest superheroes in the world are Spider-Man, Batman, and Superman, and they're all played by Brits. Weird. Rodrigo Rivas Martinez, thank you for the Mexican $10. I appreciate it. No question there. Sergey Berengard, Canadian $5. Here's $5. Thank you very much. Well, thank you. And again, I am an Anglophobe. I love Britain. I go there a lot. It is my favorite country. Well, if I could live in London, I would tomorrow. I love it there. I love everything about, well, I used to love everything about your TV. My favorite thing in the world is Doctor Who. You know, that's where Tolkien's from. Jason Vannon, Canadian $2. Thank you so much. Cornelius Brunies for $2. What about the Daario guy Danny left in Essos? That's a great question. She left Daario Naharis, the who was one of the leaders of the Second Sons, or no, I'm sorry, was it Stormcrows? Stormcrows. And killed his fellow leaders to hand Danny the heads because he was in love with her. Then she left him in charge. If she left Daario Naharis in charge and then just left, he would reinstall slavery. Yeah. Essos is just fine. Like, he wouldn't have heard about this. Nobody would have sent a raven. They have ships up the wazoo, and with the Westeros Express, Daario could show up to back up Danny. Maybe it happens in the next 2 episodes, but I highly doubt it. By the way, I like the first Daario better than the second one. He looked more like the real character. Ed Skrein, is that his name? Ed, you know, the guy who was the bad guy in Alita and Deadpool. Thank you, Cornelius. Richard Ford, $2. So what's a worthy death for Qyburn? Varys coming back and having his little birds dispatch him. Varys coming back, and which I think will happen. I think Varys hits King's Landing and all of his little birds go flocking back to him and kill Qyburn. Mike J, £5. Hi, Gary. I'm building up my Marvel Omnibus collection and want to avoid all the PC. What years and writers should I avoid? I'm clueless after the 80s. Are you talking about post 80s? Because anything before the 80s is absolutely safe. Actually, most of the 90s or all the 90s is fine. It's fine. I anything past the year 2013. So you can go up to 2013. For me, the Marvel Universe 616 ended with Secret Wars. So you can go up to that. Secret Wars was okay, but when Marvel Now started out really good and petered out. So, you know, right up to Avengers versus X-Men. Brother Malachi, $5. Will a mysterious woman named Starbuck appear from nowhere and claim the Iron Throne? That would be better than what we're going to get, but no, that's not going to happen. Something much dumber, Brother Malachi. Although I like that. I like the end of Battlestar Galactica, but it would be dumb if it was in Game of Thrones. JR, $4.99. Prediction for the next episode. Daenerys scolds Jon Snow, dyes her hair purple, then kamikazes her dragon with light speed through King's Landing. You guessed it. That's it. No. Thank you, JR. Scott Kerr, Canadian $2. Have a Pete's coffee on me. You've earned it. Well, thank you. And I will tip my Pete's a swig of Pete's for the working woman and man. Mm-hmm. Oh, it's so good. One more. Thanks, Scott. Rad Willie 1, $2. Disappointed in Game of Thrones community Fucking Kneelers. Right? The Free Folk Reddit is a major disappointment to me. I thought that would be the one place that wouldn't. I mean, it's hypnosis. But here's where I will defend them, kind of, Rad Willie, just kind of. I'm with you, but follow me on this one. There's a lot of channels and websites out there that are completely 100% dedicated to Game of Thrones, and they're watching their websites and their channels crush. And instead of doing the smart thing, well, I mean, they're doing the honest thing. If they still love the show, that's fine. If you're being honest and your website and your channel crashes and burns based on you just feeling in your heart and you're not going to be dishonest with your fans, that's fine. That's respectable. So I won't judge you for that. But in your heart, if you know it really sucks and you're not saying anything because you want to kind of shill for the show, and I know Free Folk is not going to get anything from HBO, so I don't know what the motivation is behind it, other than Free Folk was 100% based on the show and not the books. What I would do if I was Free Folk is I would be switching that Reddit to the books right now. Right now. That would be your focus. And you live a full long life as a Reddit page. I don't know if you monetize that stuff or maybe it's just a hobby. I don't know. Don't care. But there are a ton of channels and Reddit pages and websites and Instagrams that are 100% based on Game of Thrones. And it was about to end anyway, but you could have kept going if it ended well. It's not going to end well. So yeah, there might be some out there defending the show because they're actually just defending their platform. My suggestion, not they're going to listen to me, is just connect with your audience and be honest. So if you, like I said, if you actually like the show and you're enjoying this and you think you're all wrong, then, you know, there's nothing to be done about it. You're being honest. That's what you feel in your heart. Fine. If you know the show sucks, but you're not saying it because you don't want to sound bad or something like that, man, drop that right now. Drop it. Be honest. Fucking Kneelers. Shady Goats. Is it Norwegian? $20. Let's talk about the Starbucks cup in Winterfell. Was there a Starbucks cup in Winterfell? Did somebody like accidentally put one on set? Was that a thing? Did I miss it? What's that? Somebody tell me what that is. You don't have to give a super chat. Just tell me in the chat. Bionic belly button. Thank you, Shady Goats. Bionic belly button for $2. What's up, Bionic? Will Jaime kill Cersei? Euron betray Cersei? I can't say anything. To answer that question either way would kind of, I mean, okay, so the spoilers that I know for the end of the show, one of them does concern Cersei and Jaime. Euron, no idea what happens to Euron. So I'll answer the Euron. I think this is just my thoughts. I think Euron dies in Dragonfire. I think they set that one up because they'll pay off Dany's stuff, but they won't pay off Jon's stuff. Remington 30666 Canadian $5. Everybody should just read and watch the Last Kingdom series now that Game of Thrones has crapped the bed. Amazing stuff. Screw Game of Thrones now. I may be incorrect on this one, but Angry Joe talked about George R. Martin not tweeting anything the day Game of Thrones premiered. But prior to that, the one show he did tweet about was The Last Kingdom. I've heard very good things about that show, and I will check it out. I will. Christian Delorme for Canadian $12. Or is it Delorme? Some Canadian pesos for hardworking man. Canadian pesos. I'm going to say that from now on. Thank you, my Canuck friend. You are not America's hat. We are Canadia's tidy whities. Frankie J, $5. Are you worried about how they'll handle the Game of Thrones prequel? I hear they already got rid of the first writer and director. They did. That you heard correctly. And listen, Game of Thrones went through some turmoil too in the beginning. And boy, maybe they should have done some more changes. Yeah. Yes, Gary. Last Kingdom fun. Good. Okay, cool. Coffee cup in shot with Dany looking at Jon. No shit. Okay, let's go look at that. Oh no. Oh no. That is some great product placement right there. It's certain as hell. Oh, okay. I'm sorry I'm at The Verge. The Verge is a garbage site, but it's just the first one that popped up. There it is. Whoops. Well, you took all the time to light all of those candles, light that fire, make it look like a medieval set, had iron looking candelabras there. Look at the tunics and the horn of ale. So they probably thought that the shot wasn't going to have Dany in the background and it was tight on Jon and Tormund, maybe. You know how many people that went through? Do you have any idea how many people that went through? Oh, God. That went through. And I'm listen, I've worked only in post-production. So I'm going to say it went past the well, there's a person who's supposed to keep the sets. There's like in continuity. So the continuity person, the person that's there that's supposed to keep everything off the set, line producer, the cinematographer, the director, the editor, whatever assistants the editors had, people in post-production who were doing any of the QC on this or anything, they all missed it. Now, granted, to protect the people who do QC, they don't watch every second of an episode. They usually watch first 15 minutes, middle 5 minutes, middle 10 minutes, last 15 minutes. At least that's what I did at Technicolor. Not sure if maybe they're different now, and I don't really care. Okay, I'm going to go on the light side. It went by 10 people, maybe more. Oh my God. Doesn't anybody, okay, so listen, I've made mistakes with videos too, but I watch before I put up an edited video, unless I'm in a crazy hurry, which I've had to do a couple times, and both times mistakes have gotten through. But I watch my videos 3 times all the way through before I pop them up. It's very hard to do, but you got to do it. Damn it. That's hilarious. That is hilarious. Oh, that made me happy. Who's the evil gaming? I am live. That's great. Let's see. Let's go see you're live. You want to spam my chat with your live? Let's go see you. Let's take a look. Let's go take a look. Give me just a second, folks. You ask, you shall receive. Oh, you're not the evil gamer. You're the evil gaming. Not very original. Not very original. Oh, there it is. But you're not live, unless that's not you. But yeah, don't spam in the chat. I don't like to tell people to not do stuff, but don't spam in the chat. You can certainly ask me to shout you out, and I'd be happy to. All right, and hang on. What a dick. Bye bye. Again, if you want to ask me to shout you out, I'd be happy to do it. You spam my chat, you're gone. Bye-bye. All right, back to these super chats. Remington, okay, I already got that one. Christian Delorme, Frankie J for $5. Okay, I already got that one. North American Vikinger for $10. I just don't see how we'll get classic writing from city-born first worlders this far past the haunting influence of World War II. The internet has eaten the great unknown and demystified our imaginations. That, whoa. North American Vikinger, $10. That is so well said. I'm going to keep that because that, and I'll give you full credit. That's going in my next video. That is going in my Game of Thrones review because that is something that has been on the back of my mind is what we draw on for inspiration for storytelling is becoming very limited because a good writer doesn't have to know everything about the world, haven't been everything, but it certainly helps. Experience certainly helps. And a good writer has had some form of experience either through reading a ton of books. Okay, that's one way to gain experience. It's through somebody else's eyes, but it's one way to gain experience. Or world traveler, been around a lot. And you notice that's a common element with a lot of the classic writers is they've been around. They've been around. And you also write what you know, what you're familiar with. I know some of my UK friends might be a little mad at me now because I said, I don't think another Brit should play Batman. It's not that important to me, but I will say this. I think some of the best writing comes out of the UK and comes out of Europe, based on your history, your location. That's just what I gravitate towards. And put it this way, my two favorite writers are Brits. So, Douglas Adams, J.R.R. Tolkien. And I just think the best stuff comes out of there, Yeah. I think you're right. Well said, North American Vikinger. Thank you very much. Rad Willie, $2. GRRM blogged. The prequel is called The Long Night. He did, but then he dialed back on it. So the question I will ask you to get back to Frankie Super Chat and you, Rad Willie, is, are you excited about The Long Night? So if they do a prequel that's the origins of the Night King, do you care? Now that they dispatched him so quickly, he's just not menacing now. He's just he's just an ice cube that walks really slow. And people, if I hear this is what I hear from the writers that, oh, well, this shows what fear is. He wasn't that intimidating. It was just the fear the people had in him. Well, you didn't really state that. No, you really built up something else. They either purposely built this up to dispatch him quickly, or here's what I think reality was. They were building up for something much bigger, and HBO told them you got 6 season episodes and you got 2 hours to tell the story. And that's the only way I'll defend the writers. And I think most of the blame needs to go to HBO for this one, for limiting, but I don't know whose decision it was. I hear Dan and Dave, I hear HBO. It might have been both of them, but shortening the seasons is the villain. Aldbadian for $2.99. Braun in 8-4 is weird. Another money-saving tactic. Yeah, he took the Westeros Express, pointed the crossbow at Jaime and Tyrion, got them to pinky promise that they'll give him Highgarden, and left. And isn't going to fight. So Brienne's not going to fight. Tormund's not going to fight. And Bronn, all three of them, they're alive and they're not going to take place in the final fight. What the hell? Then why not kill them? Or don't get me started. They wasted so much goddamn time sitting around, talking in rooms. They had pods smiling at Tormund, but we couldn't get any undead Night King action. That certainly would have been boring. Thank God we got this. Thank God we finally saw Jaime making out with Brienne, and they didn't even show the damn deed. It was before, after. Then he betrays her. I won't even make any gold hand jokes. I will not make any gold hand jokes. I refuse to make any gold hand jokes. Stop right there, Gary. This is a classy show. How about Bran killing the Night King by knifing him in the back after Night King gets distracted by being attacked by someone else? Your show rocks. William Butler, thank you. Honestly, if I'm not saying it would have been a lot better, but that would have been somewhat better. If you saw Bran doing something, God, I was excited to see Bran turn his head to see somebody pulling him away for some random reason in last episode. Thank you, William. Christian Delorme for Canadian $2. You can trademark Canadian pesos. Cheers. It's all yours, man. Canadian pesos. Bird of Prey 5. What is up, my friend? How are you? $10. I'd love a shout out then. Please help me hit 500. Kapla! Long live Nerdrotic. Long live Doomcock. Long live the Exozone. Our good friend Bird of Prey 5 is he's a bit of a warrior. Okay, he's a person who is unfortunately due to some unfortunate health reasons is has to be in bed a lot, and instead of whining or feeling sorry for himself, he does a YouTube channel where he live streams and he talks to people. Go check him out. Go sub to his channel. Good dude. Kapla, my friend. And you don't need to pay for a shout out. You certainly don't. Just ask. I'm not going to catch them all, but just ask. That's all you got to do. I have no problem shouting people out. People have shouted me out. So it's not anything that's even necessary to spam. You just get blocked if you spam. And yeah, I block people who spam. I do. Yep. Sorry. I'm not a free speech absolutist. Although I respect people who are. I love free speech, but there's limits to everything. Come on. And not everything's black and white. Wonder Girl 60s, $24.99. I love your channel, Gary. I hope this brightens your day as much as it enlightens mine. Well, I'm glad. Thanks. And thank you very much for the $24.99. It's very generous. Now, on the subject of free speech, now, not being an absolutist doesn't mean I willy-nilly get rid of people. You can criticize me, and if you're respectful, go right ahead. It is totally okay. Okay, we're not looking for ass kissing here. And also, free speech is very important to me. I'm just saying it on little things like spamming or people coming in and dropping N-bombs and stuff. I can't have that here. I can't have that here. Now, some other channels are okay with that, and it's not a judgment on them. Good for them. They're making a stand, and I understand that. But that is an important subject to me. And on my other channel, Nerdrotic Live, I plan to get a free speech panel together so we can do a live stream talking about the bullshit that Facebook has been pulling with Paul Joseph Watson and Alex Jones and banning them. And it's not going to stop there. That's just the beginning. So this is a very dangerous time, a very dangerous thing. So I usually don't get into politics, so that's why I'm going to do it over on Nerdrotic Live. Look for that in the next week. I'm going to try to get some big players on this one because I'd love to hear their thoughts. I can't say, especially Articles 11 and 13. I need to get a couple of Europeans on who know that up and down because I don't know everything about it, but I want to learn. So I want to get those people on to talk to you. And if you guys are interested in that, please, let me know. And we're going to do it over on Nerdrotic Live, but I will be sure to communicate to you here when it's going to happen. Okay. Because I think that'll be a good live stream to have. But right now we're just talking about, well, we'll eventually talk about Spider-Man. I'll get there. Ryan Fitzpatrick, $20. Hey, Nerdrotic, did you see the Wired interview with Fabian Wagner, the cinematographer for the Battle of Winterfell, saying that the reason the episode was so dark was that people don't know how to tune their TV properly? He fucking did not say that. Did he say that? Give me that. Fucking what? Thank you for letting me know. Let me just get, let's pull that article up. Okay, here we go. Variety. Thank you for that super chat, by the way. What a son of a bitch. Fuck you, dude. A lot of problem is a lot of people don't know how to tune their TVs properly. Fuck you, Fabian. Dude, no, and I'm not, you know what, I won't even blame you. I'm not going to blame Fabe. As much as I'd love to blame him, it was in post. The idiots in post. Robert Meyer Burnett on his channel described it perfectly. He said there's a lot of new people in post, and guess what? They're farming a lot of this out. I don't know if Robert Meyer Burnett brought this up, but they're farming a lot of it out to countries that don't really understand American cinematography, American film technique, and they're just there, and all they know is the numbers and the technical aspect of it, and they don't know the artistic aspect of it, and they're just hacks, and honestly, they're new. So I shouldn't even call them hacks. It's because the post companies aren't willing to pay the right people that know what they're doing. It has nothing to do with tuning your TV. I don't need to tune my TV. Tune my TV. What the hell are you talking about, dude? I mean, you put it on a setting. Listen, I worked in post-production at Technicolor. I know how to tune my effing monitor and my effing TV for optimal, and it still was too dark. That doesn't mean I couldn't see anything. It means I had to turn out all my lights. I don't need to have to turn out all my lights to watch something. That means you shot it too dark. And guess what? Game of Thrones has been shot too dark for years. This has been going on for years. They do it to hide their sets. They do it to hide stuff. It's hiding special effects. That's what it's done. Jackass, tune your team pro. You know, fuck that dude. Or buy a more expensive TV. Freaking wanker. Thanks, Ryan. Rogue Pilot, $5. Do you think Jaime went back to King's Landing to kill Cersei and lied to Brienne? And did they ruin his character arc? And is he really going back to her? Yeah, they ruined his character arc some time ago by him going back to Cersei at all. Because in the books, he does not go back to Cersei. Once he is gone, he is gone. He has a chance to go back, and so when Cersei is trapped by the High Sparrow, when she's caught by the High Sparrow, she sends him a letter begging for him to come back. And he just goes, thank you, and ghosts her. And then, honestly, Jaime has we don't know Jaime's fate right now in the books. I don't know if I want to tell you. Jaime finds Brienne again, but he's in a lot of danger. We'll just say that. He's in a lot of danger right after he'd done what he thought was good enough to repair his honor. But I think he's going to have another opportunity to repair his honor, but it would mean probably betraying his family. Tokyo Gaijin, 600 yen. Taking the undead story arc out of Game of Thrones is like taking space travel out of Star Trek. There's no point to the story anymore. Nope. No. Like I said, you just watched the Super Bowl, and now you're expected to really enjoy the Pro Bowl. I'll give you a Lord of the Rings analogy. All right. You just won the final battle against Sauron, and Denethor didn't kill himself. He's still alive, and you need to go take Minas Tirith and Gondor. You need to go take the city of Gondor. That's it. You just defeated all the orcs, Saruman, the mouth of Sauron, the Witch King of Agmar. You destroyed all them, and the big bad is Denethor in the city of Gondor. Huh? Can we take a moment to thank Ramin Djawadi? Yes. The one thing that has remained great throughout every season is Ramin Djawadi. I'm saying his name wrong, but he's the guy who does the music for Game of Thrones. The music for Game of Thrones is 100% top-notch, beautifully done. I will probably own the soundtrack for this season. I will try not to have it remind me of this season, but oh my God, he's been great. He is so good. And he did Iron Man, by the way. He did the first Iron Man movie. He did Westworld again. Season 1. The soundtrack for Westworld season 1 is freaking fabulous. Archangel 0891. Hey, Spidey Far From Home multiverse, we getting Secret Wars? Short answer is yes. So the Russo brothers said the only way they would come back is to direct a Secret Wars film. Well, you know why they said that? Because they're coming back for that. It's probably like 7 or 8 years down the line, but we are most definitely getting it. It's a way to introduce the X-Men, a way to introduce the Fantastic Four. And if they don't make a deal with Sony, it's a way to exit Spider-Man. I'm going to get through the super chats and we'll talk about that. Alan Walker, $4.99. I feel like I have been slapped in the face all this time watching Game of Thrones and it turns to shit. And then assholes come and tell you that your TV wasn't too dark. You were tuning it wrong. Taking the predictable approach to make Jon fight Dany. And it's so forced because they're doing it in now. It's 2 episodes. They haven't really turned on each other yet. If you wanted to make Dany the villain or Jon the villain, or you needed a season for that to happen, I'm sorry. I'm getting Revenge of the Sith right now. Anakin Skywalker is like, hey, Obi-Wan, what's up, buddy? 15 minutes later, killing kids, Rowan Mangyon for Australian $2.99. Get Dave Cullen on your chat about European law. That is the first person I had in mind, Rowan. That is the very first person I had in mind. I want to get Dave Cullen on. I believe I want to get my buddy Bulls Trek on this one. I'll try to put together a very strong panel for y'all. But Dave Cullen is the person I need to get. Now, he's been waiting for me to reach out to him on Gab, and I have been lagging, so I need to do that. But Dave, if you're out there, I love you, man. You damn ginge. We need to talk. And people love you. So, keep up the good fight. Dark Shamrock 57, $4.99. Did you catch the mess up on Gendry's Gendry's bastard name? He said he was Riverlands, but he actually is a Waters from King. I didn't catch that. I didn't hear him say that. I didn't hear him say I just heard bastard. He said he's a Rivers. That is a major screw up. You are right. Oh boy, I missed that one. Good, Dark Shamrock. Yeah, I completely missed that. I don't know. I don't know. My dog barked while it was happening. I have no excuse. Madeline Thornley for $10. So is Euron so stupid that he didn't pick up on Tyrion knowing about the baby or what? I don't know. Euron is Euron is kind of like this is going to be a political analogy. Please don't judge me on this one because so he's like the George Bush of Westeros. He's either a complete idiot or an evil genius. I'm not sure which. In the show context. I don't know if he just knew the dragon's going to be there and he's really good at the first shot, but then he's just and then we'll go have Daenerys suck on my cock. That's such a disservice to really one of the best bad guys I've ever read. Not kidding. If I have time, I would read you the Forsaken chapter on this live stream right now, which would just tell you how bad he is, and in a good way. Just heading to Starbucks. Want anything? Christopher Martin. Yes. Shane Bentley, $9.99. The Night King was pretty much the Atlanta Falcons with a 28-3 lead. Then Arya pulled a Tom Brady, flipping Tom Brady. Yeah, Jeremy loves that though, because we know he loves Tom Brady. Yeah, that's crazy. I didn't know the bastard name was wrong and everything. That is nuts. Euron, Victarion, and Aeron are the brothers to Balon Greyjoy. Balon, of course, was killed In the show by Euron and in the books, we suspect a faceless man, but we're not sure. Victarion is not in the show. He is alive in the books. He is a fantastic character. He is this giant man who, what is it? Preston Jacobs suspect has kind of a small wee-wee, so he tries to overcompensate. He's like just this beast in battle. He's an absolute like maniac in battle. One of the best fighters in Westeros. He's an a-hole, but a likable character. He's really into duty and honor. Well, not honor, but in the Iron Islands way. Okay. Which is very different than the Westeros way or anybody else. They're pirates, basically. Viking pirates. And he's a great character. He's a great character. And they have some of the best chapters with him. He's also a complete idiot, but for somehow likable. I don't know. It's hard to explain. Hey Gary, thanks for plugging my channel the other night. Ending of Game of Thrones. Joffrey returns. I miss him. God, who does? Raise your hand if you miss Joffrey. I miss Joffrey. I do. Back when things made sense. Honestly, if I was thinking about this the other day, if you just end Game of Thrones at the Red Wedding, you just leave it there. The good guys lost. The end. It might have been better. You certainly didn't need to bring Jon back. What, to get everybody together to die at the hands of Dany or Cersei? Okay. Okay. Thanks for wasting my time. And if they say, if George and Dan and Dave come out and say, no, this is it. This is exactly how the books end. This is exactly how it was supposed to end. Then I'm going to say the same thing. Thanks for wasting my time. It sure wasn't what you were setting up for, or you really tricked us. And yep, consider me fooled. Thanks for wasting my time. I'm going to go home and readjust my television set now because maybe it wasn't adjusted right for your writing. Is that what Dan and Dave are going to say? No. Our writing isn't bad. You just had your television set adjusted wrong. Luke is being fried by the Emperor Vader by his side. All of a sudden, out of nowhere, Porkins jumps out and stabs Palpatine in the nuts, and throws Vader and Palpatine down the shaft. Subverted, and the audience gets the shaft. That's right. That's right, Bjorn. That is right. Hilarious. Okay. We'll switch gears. You guys can still talk about Game of Thrones if you want. We're not done here. We're going to do a whole other Nooner on Wednesday. I'm going to be on Patreon tomorrow doing a Nooner, but I do want to discuss the Spider-Man stuff real quick and the MCU stuff and the multiverse. So yeah, they introduced the multiverse in a Spider-Man trailer, and Mysterio is not from our world. And Happy Hogan says that the snap is what tore a hole in the universe, not the stones. It's a big difference there. Not the stones, it was the snap. Now I think there's going to be a multiverse from the snap, and I think the stones are going to create one as well. Obviously Loki created one. So what we're going to get, ladies and gentlemen, is a hot mess in the MCU. Now this is a way to, like I said before, introduce the X-Men, introduce new heroes that have been out of nowhere. And why couldn't they have done this with Captain Marvel is beyond me. Oh, I know why. Because they wanted to inject identity politics into the MCU and make her first and the inspiration for the Avengers. So a woman was behind all the great deeds. That was definitely 100% an identity politics move, without a doubt. So the reason I want to bring this up is Sony and Marvel have a deal with Tom Holland and for Spider-Man. As you may know, Sony owns not only the film rights for Spider-Man, they own a percentage of the character of Spider-Man, not just distribution rights. They own a piece of Spider-Man. It was part of the deal done years ago. Don't know what the percentage is, don't know what the parameter is, but that's what I do know. So Marvel is stuck with Sony no matter what. Yeah, bad news. So Sony has had some success lately with their Spider-Man, and they're going ahead with a Spider-Verse. Why would they need Marvel? I mean, it does make sense, but they could certainly be dumb pull Spider-Man, do their own universe, and basically trick people, either try to force Disney into working with them or trick people in, making people think Venom is an MCU film, which they certainly were a little guilty of doing. And, Amy Pascal being involved, she runs Spider-Man and she is despicable. She is a crafty player in Hollywood. And there's a reason she stayed in power so long. She got fired. And when she got fired as CEO, she put herself in charge of Spider-Man, which is essentially being a CEO of Sony, because it's their only real movie property that they have that makes any money. Now, there's Sony almost had to sell, but now they're doing much better. So this looks like, to me, an opportunity to possibly get rid of Spider-Man, which is bad. I would much rather, as much as I don't like the Homecoming, I want to see Tom Holland in the MCU. They're setting him up. What spurgs me out is they're setting him up to be the next Iron Man. And I've never liked this Iron Man as a mentor for Spider-Man. That's not how the character works in the comics. I know this is different, but it's really fundamentally changing the character a lot. So honestly, the Sam Raimi Spider-Man are much closer to the comics than the MCU ones. Tom Holland, people, and I would agree with you, he's a good Peter Parker, but he's not a good Spider-Man because he's not a man. He's Spider-Boy. So he's a decent Peter Parker as a young Peter Parker who was only young for a very small percentage of time in the comics.
Hi,
so
Gary.
It's not when people say he's the true Spider-Man. No.
Can
if
you
you're
hear
reading
me?
Ultimate Spider-Man, maybe. But if you're writing Amazing Spider-Man, Spectacular Spider-Man, no. He's actually nowhere near Peter Parker. He's good at the quips and stuff like that. And that's how people think Peter Parker is. And he certainly has an aspect of it, but that is not Peter Parker. Okay.
Gary, can you hear me?
But it's close, and it could be good, and he can grow into the role if they stick with him for a long time and he's in his 20s, and certainly then that's something special. If he's actually going to stay around that long, I would totally go, that's cool. And we can watch him grow up and get into his 20s and become Spider-Man. That would be cool. I don't like the Tony Stark mentor thing. I loved his send-off though. So it made me think at the very end of Endgame, you hear Tony Stark pounding on the Iron Man suit. And I didn't think much of it at the time. I was like, they're probably just, that was a moment from the first film and it's whatever. Oh, I look at it completely differently now. With the multiverse, that was Tony in a cave in another universe, or Tony or Riri or somebody hammering on an Iron Man costume. That was definitely a way to bring him back, recast, or do something. So the multiverse offers Disney a way. Oh, it's June. Hang on, folks. What's up?
I'm on your live stream with you. Can't hear me.
Oh, how long you been there?
Can you hear me?
I can hear you on the phone. Hang on. It's my settings. How long you been on?
Just a minute.
Okay. Hey, you stay on. I'm gonna hang up and call back.
All right, bye.
I'll give you a new invite.
Right, bye.
I didn't even see him there. I was reading the chats. That's hilarious. So I'm gonna eject you and then bring you back, dude.
All right.
I've been having settings problem. What's up? See, that's our special guest. That was our special guest. Let's see if we can get him back in here. Oh, what was that? Sorry, I got another notification. Let's try this. Better work. If not, I'm going to try something else. Talk amongst yourselves for a minute before we get Jeremy in here. Let me try this. Yeah, I need to get it. I need to get a new computer, folks. I apologize for all the freaking problems I'm having. I sent them the link. Other features, live events. I'm going to open up another Hangout and turn off camera and mic. I can hear you.
Here we go. There we go.
There we go.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you. All right.
All right. Had to call you.
That's my settings. There's something weird going on with my settings, and it's freaking stupid Mac. So I'm like, hey, he's calling. Why?
The chat was like, we can hear you, man. Gary can't hear you, but we hear you. I was like, let me call this fool. So.
I can't hear anything over the sound of my own voice. You kidding me? Well, welcome, sir. What's up? What'd you think of Game of Thrones?
I mean, and Mueller says he wants to debate me. I said it's the best episode of the season, but that wasn't a compliment. It wasn't a compliment at all. It's like it was the best smelling piece of shit we've gotten this year. That's essentially how I looked at it. But I didn't like it, and it got me to the point. I did a video on my channel earlier where I said that I was so disinterested in this, I did something I don't do. And I looked up all the spoilers for the remainders of the season. That's how disinterested I am. And so I know everything that happens now. So,
yeah. I got, and I told you, I got sent an email and I just read it. At this point, I'm like, who cares?
Do you know?
I mean, I know the acts, the actual act of what happens. I don't know the context of what happens. So, and I'm going to leave it at that. And
yeah, same here. We'll talk about it off camera.
Yeah.
We know.
But I can agree with you that it's the worst effing ending. I mean,
possible. And the reason when I looked at it, I looked after watching episode 4, I went back to these spoilers that were for 4, 5, and 6, and the episode 4 spoilers were 100% accurate, and they were posted weeks ago.
Yeah,
so
months ago.
Yep. So yeah, so I was like, wow, there you go. And yeah, it's bad, but we'll talk about that. I don't want to, I know people are some people want to hear them, some people don't. So we will respect that for sure. I'm only going to be on in a few minutes. I'm sorry I couldn't join earlier. I just mainly wanted to pop in and say hello and, get on to you for ignoring me last night. You had 5,000 people watching. I'm trying to capitalize off the Nerdrotic fame, and I can't even, I can't get any love, can't even. That's what happens when you have a small channel and you're trying to battle with Gary. So
that's right. You're not only double my size. Yeah. Listen, I only have like this pigeonhole attention span. So I'm sitting there like trying to read those super chats and talk to Doomcock. I didn't even know I was getting messages. So my bad. Yeah. Jeremy was trying to get on last night. I completely didn't catch it. Sorry.
That's all good, man. So what all have you been talking about?
Well, everybody's still pissed about Game of Thrones. I think a lot of people after last night's episode realize like, oh, Night King's not coming back. And they're really just going to do this bullshit with King's Landing and the throne that nobody cares about, anticlimactic. And then they spent a bunch of time wasting time, like just doing nothing for the first
those first 40, 45, 50 minutes, I was sitting there and I posted memes and GIFs of just people being like, do something. I mean, it was unbelievable. Like, are we talking spoilers about the episode?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Okay. So I mean, look, I don't need to see everybody fucking. I mean, we've seen enough of that. This is the end game now of Game of Thrones. And so, I mean, it just so much nonsense happened. And then once we finally make it to King's Landing, I didn't feel like the same show has the landscape, everything, like the tension wasn't there. What is Daenerys filming? Are we filming a Disney movie, flying around with dragons, all happy, smiling? Like you're flying into the battle zone, and it's just like all this happiness, and like so the dragons can survive the Night King and the Night Walkers and the Night Army, but my God, man, it's just so bad. So,
but not a scorpion bolt from freaking Euron Greyjoy. But our expectations are subverted. And
I know it is the execution is just the problem. Like the storytelling is so bad, and the execution of the bad storytelling is so bad, and it's just a perfect storm of garbage right now. And it's so sad because this series has really just it's been so good for so long. And I was just talking to someone, and I was talking about how for Game of Thrones, I was a late bloomer to the show. And so I don't really have that separation of seasons. I kind of binged like the first 4 seasons all together because I think I started watching in like season 4 or season 5. And so I don't really have that weight. This is the one negative to binging seasons is you don't really have that separation in between the seasons sometimes. It just all kind of runs together. So I really can't, people like, what's your favorite season of Game of Thrones? Like it kind of all runs together for me because I watched them all together. So I really didn't get that moment to kind of, sit there and just let my thoughts after the first or the seasons, you know, the break in between seasons, and sit there and let them marinate and kind of think about what happened. But I think that the only good character left right now in this series for me is Arya. And I did love the dialogue between her and the Hound in this episode. As much as I didn't like the fact that she got that moment in episode 3, her response to it is so Arya. I love it. Arya is so amazing, but she deserved better for the execution of that moment and how it was treated. But she is a great character. But yeah, man, it's just it's a sad situation we're dealing with right now.
We're watching something we love wither and die. And yeah, that was the killing blow. The whole episode, I am so checked out. I'm just watching it to watch it now. I mean, I didn't find anything of value in last night's episode. I just, all I can think about is what a giant waste of time it was. I'm like, wow, we're going to get a bunch of setup, and we got set up for 50 minutes. And really, that's what you dispatched the Night King for. And no, I'm not going to get over it because I spent, I think I can bitch about it for 8 to 20 days. Because I've spent 8 years watching this. So I think 8 to 20 days of bitching about it's about right. I think that's good. That's appropriate.
Yeah, I agree with that. And you know, we're going to have some good content for the next few weeks. That's for sure.
Well,
no doubt about it.
I had no idea how many people were watching last night because they don't show the numbers on my damn Hangout thing anymore. I don't.
Oh, okay.
Stop showing it. So I'm sitting there, blah, 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 blah. And then, I went and peeked just to see how my stream was doing, the stream status, and I saw 5,000 people. I'm like, holy fucking shit.
Yeah.
It gave a little sinking feeling, and you know, and that's just a lot of people pissed off. And listen, I'm not the only one. There was other streams with that had thousands of people on. Everybody's coming around, and like you said, by the end of the show, anybody who was still with it at the long night will be over here by the end of the season. Trust me.
Well, I will make one point, and this is kind of a point. Well, I don't want to make the point. I'm going to wait. I'll make the point to you in private because it kind of goes into the stuff that we've heard about what happens. But remind me, and I'll tell you about that. But it's just, I can't believe they've taken this long, and this feels so rushed. And these are the guys that's going to be working on Star Wars and possibly a Knights of the Old Republic series, movie series. Think about that. Now, as far as I want to switch, because I'm not going to be here long, so I'm going to switch gears with you just a minute for Spider-Man. Yep. I haven't seen the trailer. I don't really like watching trailers at this point because they just show so much. If I do watch the trailer, it will be for a trailer reaction. But people are saying, like, I heard people saying, like, hey, have you seen the Far From Home trailer? They're setting Spider-Man up to be the face of the MCU. Have you seen it? Is that what we're thinking?
That's certainly what they said in the trailer. I mean, they come out and say, basically, they need you to be the new Iron Man, or they refer to it. A character refers to it. I'm not going to say they're passing the torch. I don't know if they can. But that was something I was going to touch on, that maybe they're correcting from one sign in it. I won't tell you the context of it. They mentioned Captain Marvel and Thor, but in the order they mentioned Thor first. I'm like, oh. Okay, well, that's good. They didn't go, and that was a good sign. And maybe they are correcting. Maybe they are course correcting right in front of our eyes. That's a possibility. I mean, I think that's hope against hope, but it's a possibility.
Well, it is. We are the problem. Here's this problem with the MCU is facing right now. And they have done such a phenomenal job of world building and universe building or character building, whatever you want to call it. Endgame, the success is there. It's going to make I think it's going to hit over $3 billion. It's going to be the highest grossing film of all time. There is no possible way you can replace Robert Downey Jr.'s Tony Stark. It's just impossible. If anything, and I do think Tom Holland is probably the definitive Spider-Man Peter Parker. Now, I still love Tobey, but it's pretty hard to argue against what Tom Holland brings to this character on both sides. Because one thing about Spider-Man is that we've had Tobey and we've had Garfield. Both of them had strong points in one side or the other. From a Peter Parker standpoint or a Spider-Man standpoint, neither one of them have been able to perfect both. And I think Tom Holland has done that, no doubt. But nobody has Robert Downey Jr.'s celebrity. Nobody has that it factor. The only person within the MCU that's close is Chris Pratt. And they've treated Star-Lord like a piece of garbage the last two in Infinity War and in Endgame. Star-Lord's a joke, and I don't understand it. I felt like they were positioning Star-Lord to become the next Iron Man, but I don't think that's in the cards at this point. But you cannot recreate what Robert Downey Jr. brings to the table.
Nope.
You can't do it.
No, you can't. The only problem with Spider-Man being the face of Marvel is they don't own the character outright. Sony owns a piece of it. Sony, this is the last picture of their deal, and Sony's had some success. And there's a lot of rumblings that Amy Pascal is going to take Spider-Man and run her own universe now, and that's why Mysterio is being set up as possible. He might be a villain. I haven't watched the movie, but he's set up as at the very least, an anti-hero, which they need more of if they're going to make a Spider-Verse. I mean, these are just throwing theories out there. So there's something that happens in the trailer that gives the possibility of introducing new characters or getting rid of some. So possibly getting rid of Spider-Man within the MCU. They have created a situation where they can do that, and which they can do anything. It's their world. That's my concern right now. I don't think Sony would be that dumb, to be honest with you. But this is Amy Pascal. She made 2016 Ghostbusters, so certainly they could do something that dumb. I would be okay with Tom Holland being the face over Brie Larson. I would be okay with Chadwick Boseman being the face. I'd be
okay with Rocket Raccoon being the face.
Rocket Raccoon, yeah. But honestly, I agree with you. Chris Pratt right now has the most charisma and is the most likable character that they seem to be really bent on destroying.
Yeah, it's so weird, man. I don't know if it has to do with the fact that he's a white Christian male.
It has everything to do with that.
It's Chris Pratt. You go back to Guardians 1, and then you had Jurassic World, which I didn't love Jurassic World, but the reason it made 1 point, whatever it was, 2 or 3 billion or whatever, Chris Pratt. I mean, obviously it's a huge pre-existing franchise, but we also had Jurassic Park 3 and it didn't do anything great. But Chris Pratt's celebrity, he's just fantastic. He's a likable guy. He's a good guy, and he has the most charisma. He is. If Robert Downey Jr. is a 10, I would say Chris Pratt's probably a 7 on charisma, which is really good. 7 or 8. Just you're not gonna replace Downey though. Downey is a once in a lifetime megastar.
Mm-hmm.
So
absolutely. Yeah, and you're going to need that. The Chris Evans stoic, certainly Chadwick Boseman can be the Captain America of the MCU from now on.
Mm-hmm.
I can absolutely see that, and that makes tons of sense. Well, they could subvert that a little bit. They can make him like the financial Tony Stark, but the personality of Captain America. But we need somebody who's funny, who can ad lib. And honestly, Chris Pratt's like the one guy you have right now who can do it. People will argue Chris Hemsworth. His humor is very single. It's very particular. It's kind of like the dumb, jolly guy. Chris Pratt hits all the beats. He reminds me a lot of Harrison Ford's Indiana Jones, Han Solo. I mean, that was the one takeaway from Guardians of the Galaxy I had, is I walked out of that movie and I said, that is the closest thing to the original Star Wars I've ever seen in my life, period. In tone.
I agree.
In tone. So, will they do it? Nah, no. So Tom Holland would be fine. So yeah, I didn't ponder the fact that maybe they are not going to use Brie Larson as the face. I think
I don't even see how this is a very smart company, very smart business decisions they've made up to this point. They've built their universe with the right people and the right characters. And for them to just make such a leap in logic to try to put Brie Larson as the face of this mega successful franchise, I can't even believe their social justice makes them that dumb. I mean, it's not going to happen.
You would hope not.
Yeah.
And she did herself no favors just in the last week. I mean, like, we read her articles, but that last one I did a video on, there was a podcast that went through it, and I don't know why I should have used audio, but you got to hear her saying the things that's even more important with the little growly voice. And I'm on the forefront of diversity and inclusivity. It's like, what?
I'm going to make a video later for my channel. And it's going to be talking about, Hollywood's idea of diversity and representation is bullshit, because it is. I made a tweet earlier where it's just like, they don't really like what you have to understand is when they start writing characters specifically to talk about representation and diversity, then you have to understand they don't care about representation and diversity. They just don't. They care about using your race and gender to make them look better. They don't really care. A well-written character is a well-written character. A well-written character is not a well-written female character or a well-written black character or a well-written white character. It's a well-written character. Mm-hmm. We don't care. We do not care what color they are. No, I've said this before on my live streams. Normal people, Gary, myself, people watching, normal people with day jobs and lives and bills and the stresses of life. We're never sitting around. Now, how many times you've been at your regular day job? And you're like,
I went into Wendy's earlier and I was just totally upset because there was not a good diverse breakdown of the people working there. And I felt underrepresented. No, you're like, hey, they had good service. Or they didn't have good service. You never like,
yep.
I was just really, the gender breakdown was really phenomenal there. Nobody thinks like this. Nobody talks like this. Nobody has these discussions. It's not normal. It's just not. Have you ever been in the break room at work and people are like talking about, hey, did you see that movie? I don't know, Tom Cruise movie? Oh yeah, that Tom Cruise movie. I was really into the story. Until I noticed that it was not diverse enough. Like nobody has these conversations. It's not normal. So
no, it's usually, I mean, I don't want to get in the heads of everybody, but it's 9 times out of 10, the people who make that kind of trouble really are insecure people. They're projecting, not wanting to deal with themselves. I see this all the time in the program in recovery. And you have to focus your sponsees. They're always like, this guy's after me and that guy, it's their fault. And it's all, no, dude, it's you.
Yep.
It's you, or it's me. When life is shitty, 100% of the time it's because of me. So because that's how I feel. Nobody makes me feel that way. So this is people projecting their ugliness and sadness on everybody else and ruining it for everybody. And it sucks, go get some therapy, but and then we have Hollywood working out their shit on screen, like their whole Me Too Time's Up stuff. They're trying to, they're not making up everything. It's all these people trying to project, look at how good we are. We're putting in a female director and just please don't look inside the skeletons all my closet. Don't look at that closet over there. Just look at the female director I hired right over here.
Right.
That's what's going on.
Well, somebody said in the comments I should go into Wendy's and record the gender and breakdown.
That'd be funny. Oh my God, go in there.
I want to do a series of fast food restaurants,
the diversity breakdown,
and we'll see how diversity is breaking down. Because I've made this point before. Jesse made this point before, actually, on the channel a while back, where like. Have you ever think about this? One of these executives that gets up on their Hollywood soapbox, they're talking about respecting women and respecting minorities and women should be represented in movies and Star Wars and all. Has that person ever been driving down the road where there were no cameras and there was no media, driving down a project of a roofing project and stopped the car and got out and goes,
I see too many men working on this roof, and I need more women represented on this project. And if I don't get it, I'm going to be upset.
That's never happened. Do you know why?
No.
Because they don't believe in the BS that they spew. They only do it for the cameras. They don't really care. No. So if they really want true diversity and equality, okay, why do female supermodels get paid like 12 times as much as men? Let's fix the pay gap. There's a gender gap in the modeling industry. Respect man. Why can't men get equal pay in the modeling industry? And why is it that every top-selling porn is women porn? Let's get some representation of some equal rights in the porn industry for the man. All right, I'm gonna stop doing.
No, we need to get more women in the sanitation. And I said this 2 live streams ago. The next war we have, I want an all-female war.
That's right. That's right.
We're gonna sit this one out. I want a female directed, female lead. I want all female cast members. War, and you're gonna fight it out. And please. That's next.
They say, weren't we talking about Spider-Man? We were talking about Spider-Man.
Were we? No. You guys, just so everybody understands, live streaming is basically a cocaine conversation without the cocaine. Well, at least in my case, I can't speak for Jeremy, but no, I'm just kidding.
Jeremy, I'm a big drug user, drinking all day. I might be drunk right now. I have been at the pool all day. So.
Oh. The pool.
Yeah. So getting some sun, but nobody complains about too many garbage men. Exactly, Desert Fox. So here's how I do it, Gary. As I put the live stream on my computer here, and then I minimize the Google Hangout to overlay the video portion of the live stream, so I see the chat box right next to my Google Hangout. So that's how I do it.
I was checking for you. And I usually do that, and I was just staring at the super chats for some reason. and I'll get going, and my mouth gets running, and I just don't even know what the hell's going on. Yeah,
it's over then.
Now, actually, there's something going on in my settings. When people join, they're muted, and I can't figure out what the hell's going on. I need a new computer. I got a notification from Apple last week saying that Google Hangouts is no longer going to work on my operating system in about 30 days. So I'm like, great. Well, Hangouts, they're phasing out Hangouts. It's going to be gone in October.
Really? I didn't even know this.
Gone. So I don't know if they said they have a replacement set up. I don't know if we're going to have to use OBS or not, but yeah, Hangouts is going away at the end of the year.
I didn't even know that.
Yeah, I didn't. It sucked. And they notified us in January. And then,
I didn't even know about this.
No, and they have made no, like, there's nothing out there as it relates to YouTube. So it might stay on YouTube and just be gone as an app, but I haven't seen anything. Yeah, crap. Exactly. Yeah.
Interesting. Who is this guy? I like him, says Glenn Edwards. I am Jeremy from Geeks and Gamers. How are you? Thank you for your compliment. I don't get very many compliments on Gary's stream because Gary's usually really mean to me when I come over here. That's why I don't come over here much. He just, he's just, it's part of being a straight white male, and Gary's just mean to me. So
yeah. Well, he's a J.J. Abrams loving normie. I mean, look at this guy. Where's this Star Wars hat?
I have to
has
talk
Velcro shoes on.
I have to talk to Doomcock because I heard Doomcock, and I don't know what your thoughts on this, but he doesn't like, and I get it. This is a very popular thing. People don't like the end of Lost. I love the end of Lost. When I first saw Lost the first time, I didn't like the end. But I watched it a second time, it actually makes complete sense. And what are your thoughts on Lost on the end?
I didn't watch it.
Really? Okay.
Stopped watching it after season 1 because I'm like, I don't know. It's funny is a guy came in my shop, and I think a lot of people did this on the day after. Because I remember we were watching it the day after it aired. I'm like, it looks pretty good. I kind of like it. And the guys they're all in purgatory. And that was after the first episode.
But they weren't.
So they're all dead.
No, they're not.
They're not all dead.
No. So there's this flash sideways thing that starts happening in the later seasons. And it shows the plane actually landing, and they don't know each other and all. That's a flash sideways. That is them. That is some type of thing to distract you. But everything that actually happened on the island happened. It all happened. They all died. And then we all see them in the afterlife come together. And the message behind it is that, so for instance, hypothetically, like if you and me and that Star Wars girl and Jesse and Doomcock and Mahler and all the people that are on that live stream, okay, if we become friends on YouTube and do all these functions for the next 10 years, okay, the idea behind what happened on Lost is that you spend time in the afterlife with the people that were very important to you in your real life. So in the end, when everybody thinks they're dead, they're not really dead. That flash sideways was a distraction. But the thing that happened, they all lived their life. They all died at different times in their life. The actual island happened. The plane crash happened. All the smoke monster, all of that was real. Everything happened. They all died. Everything that we saw was real, and it happened. And then when they all lived their lives to the fullest and died, that purgatory that we see was the flash sideways was like the holding room of sorts to when they all passed away. When the final person passed away that completed that puzzle, they all came together, and then they all went to the next chapter in the afterlife. That is how it happened. So it's great. It's awesome. And so it's a fantastic show. Again, I didn't understand it the first time. The first time I watched it, I'm like, F this crap. You mother effers were all dead. Are you kidding me? And I got, I was like, I loved it. I loved everything up to that point, but I was really frustrated and really confused. And then years later, I watched it again, and I totally understood it. It's a fantastic show. So, but I want to talk to Doomcock about that. So I will at some point.
Oh yeah. Doomcock has seen it. I can't judge it. I just, it was at a time I wasn't watching a ton of TV, and I'm like, I don't care about. And at this point, I found out it was Mystery Box, and I'm just not a fan of Mystery Box, and I've been burned by that guy so many times, especially after Westworld season 2 was the end of the line for me.
And JJ really didn't have anything to do with the season after the first, or the series after the first season.
It's the guy doing Watchmen right now, Dan Lindelof.
Damon Lindelof.
But here's my final say on JJ is. He is treated like he's Steven Spielberg right now. What has he done that is even close to it? Spielberg's worst movie is better than JJ's best.
Oh no, I would never
1941 is better than anything that freaking JJ has done. And he doesn't deserve the accolades he gets. And it's just Hollywood is not bereft of talent. There is great directors out there. One of them's about to do, God, I hope not, the woke Bond movie. Cary Fukunaga, who did True Detective season 1. But there's also Matthew Vaughn, who did The Kingsman, one of the best directors out there. You know, Layer Cake. You ever seen Layer Cake, Jeremy?
I have not.
Oh my God, you need to see Layer Cake with Daniel Craig.
And I do like Matthew Vaughn. I think Matthew Vaughn's fantastic.
Layer Cake is absolutely his best movie. It is so good, and I love Kingsman. Kingsman, fantastic. And I like X-Men First Class too. But yeah, JJ copy and paste. Yeah. I mean, it's fine. Yeah, I like Fringe.
I don't. Yeah, I think you're spot. I mean, as a JJ fan, I think you're spot on with the fact that he's completely overrated in terms of his where he's at in Hollywood, and ultimately that is Spielberg. Spielberg has made that happen. I mean, he's Spielberg's boy. And Spielberg has made that happen. Spielberg discovered him at a really young age, and Spielberg has got him connected to all the people that he's connected to. He does have a very prolific TV career, but as far as his movie career, I mean, I enjoyed Mission Impossible 3. I very much enjoyed Mission Impossible 3, especially after Mission Impossible 2, which I hated. I loved Super 8, even though Super 8's not viewed upon as anything great. I thoroughly enjoyed Super 8. I enjoyed Trek 09. I didn't like Into Darkness that much. The Force Awakens was fool's gold. I was part of that. I got fooled with Force Awakens. But you're right, though. I mean, he really has not. Christopher Nolan's the king in terms of filmmakers, in my opinion, in current Hollywood. Christopher Nolan has given us all-time great movies over the past 10, 15 years. And he's my favorite director. And I think when you look at, like, JJ is viewed in the same light as Nolan in terms of, like, how he's viewed. But in reality, that is the most laughable comparison of all time when you look at what Christopher Nolan has actually done in Hollywood with the movies he's made versus what JJ's done. It's not even remotely close, but for some reason JJ has that power, and it's kind of crazy, but it's because he's Spielberg's boy.
Yeah, exactly. He's the anointed one.
Yep.
And that had everything to do with it. Plus he's really good at bullshit. I mean, he's just the best. He's a politician. You know, he's doing this stuff. He's done this stuff that Spielberg's done. He'll whore his name out to be a producer on every single thing, and that starts putting you in the public consciousness. You know, like produced by J.J. Abrams, and Nolan kind of went down that road for a moment. You know what I mean? With Man of Steel, and that's why I went into Man of Steel. I'm like, oh, Nolan, because they plastered his name all over Man of Steel. Totally hooked me. You know, and but Nolan's kind of backed off of that. He dialed having his name attached to Batman v Superman. He was an executive producer, but it was never part of the marketing. If you go to that movie Wally Pfister did with Johnny Depp, Transcendence, which I never saw. Wally Pfister was Nolan's, I think he was his DP, if I'm not mistaken. And but Nolan was a producer on that, but it was never like, it wasn't marketed much. It was almost like Nolan's like, look, you know what? We tried this with Man of Steel. Keep my fucking name out your movies now if they're going to be pieces of shit. You know, that's really what I feel like happened. So, but yeah, JJ produced Pornhub movies and everything. I mean, it's just produced by JJ. He don't care. He's like, put my name on anything. You know, he doesn't care. He is a whore for being a producer. So what's Nolan working on now? It's been reported his next project is in the works, but I don't think we have any details of it yet. Nolan takes his time. It's a sci-fi movie, I think, right?
I'm not sure. I know that what's his name from Twilight is going to be in it. Robert Pattinson, yeah. Which I like Robert Pattinson. I think this is going to be a really good moment for him to step out of that. What is it?
I just went to Chris Nolan's IMDb and it says Memento original screenplay.
What do you mean?
Announced. Memento. Like
Memento.
Memento. They're going to do another Memento. Yeah.
Oh, I heard there was a rumor that they're going to do another Memento. Not Nolan though. He's probably be attached to it in some capacity because of the filming.
Just the original screenplay. Gotcha. Okay, I got you. They're going to remake it based on his screenplay. Okay. Untitled Christopher Nolan project, pre-production 2020. That tells me dick.
Nothing. Yeah. I can't wait for them to see another Memento without Nolan doing it. So.
No, Memento's. I love that movie. I really do.
Oh, it's fantastic. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, but I don't think we have any details on his next project yet, but we will.
Nope. Oh man. So it's going to be an interesting 2 weeks. The Marvel universe. It's going to be interesting. I would love to be wrong about the MCU going woke. Nothing would make me happier. And them course correcting. We'll see. I got to watch. There's a scene. God, I want you to see the trailer. Once you see the trailer, we'll talk about it.
I am. You know what? I'll probably just do a reaction to it because I need to do that for the channel, and I am fixing that to balance because I have to make multiple videos for the channel because I'm way behind after being out of town all weekend.
I hear that.
But I'll check it out. We'll talk about it. We got some more stuff to talk about with Game of Thrones spoilers. I'd like to get your take on that. So we'll talk later.
We need to talk Vegas.
Yes. So thank you for having me on. It's my honor. I've been working my entire life to be on a Nerdrotic live stream. No, man, I'm really happy.
I wore a hat today, man.
I know, man. I know. But no, man, your channel's doing great. I'm really proud of you, buddy. And keep up the good work. And I'm sure I'll have you. Jessica, Matt, can we link to this guy's channel, please? Somebody link Geeks and Gamers in the chat. It is right now. Yeah. I'm trying to get my first 1,000 subs, so appreciate you guys doing that. No, but I'll have some videos coming to the channel a little bit later. And Gary, great talking to you,
dude. Great talking. Thanks for coming on. And I'm really sorry about if you want to come on next Sunday. Let me know what you're doing next Sunday night, and you can come on. I do a pregame and a postgame. You are welcome on either one for the next 2 weeks. So. Yeah, just let me know what you're doing, and I'll send you the links.
All right. All right, man. Have a good one, man.
You too, brother. Take care, man. See ya.
Right. Bye.
All right. And thanks, Artemis Over Easy. And I just posted in there too, Geeks and Gamers. Yeah, they're an up-and-coming channel. They got a couple subscribers. He really, he's got a long way to go, but I think he'll get there. Venom Broly asked, "Bye, Jeremy. You didn't reply to me how you protect your baseball hat when you don't wear them. I bet you he puts them on. I hang mine on a door. I bet you he hangs his on a door. All right, we're gonna get some super chats, let's get going. So thanks everybody, and that was Jeremy the great Jeremy from Geeks and Gamers. Never kind of quiet today, wasn't he? He was a little quiet, withdrawn. Yeah. So Madeline Thornley for $20. Also, what are your thoughts on Amazon's Lord of the Rings series in the works? If they treat it like a show, like we want to make a show that is reflective of Tolkien's work, and I will love it. You can certainly, I'm sure. Okay. The elephant in the room is diversity. You can certainly, it doesn't have to be all a bunch of white people in there. There's certain ways you can do it that still makes it feel like Tolkien. It doesn't need to be all white. It's a fantasy world. Okay, that's fine. But and it depends, where this is going to be. What is it? It's a prequel, right? It's a prequel. So there's a lot of, it depends. If they try to make it woke Lord of the Rings, it's going to suck. If they try to make it Lord of the Rings and we want to present an actual, and maybe they learn something from Game of Thrones. Maybe they go, ooh, we better have an ending. It is my hope that it is great and we are covering it here and we're just having a good time watching it. If they turn it into a woke mess, well, that's another year's worth of videos. Eric Burdick for $5. They obviously don't know how to write complex characters. You are correct there. Alentian for $5. Hey, Gary, love your channel. I was curious if you ever read the Dresden Files. The TV show was awful, but the books are fantastic with no SJW stuff. Yes, I have. I've met Jim Butcher a couple times at Comic-Con. We used to have booths right next to, and we were right next to each other every year. And yeah, cool dude. I actually liked the television show for what, I mean, it was not good, okay, but I liked it for what it was, and it had great potential. And I would love to see it turned into a television show. It is a fantastic book series. It's a lot of fun. And no, there's none of that garbage in there. It's very Buffy and its monsters and its dialogue, but not uber Joss Whedon. It's just really good stuff. So if you guys, if anybody's hasn't read the Dresden Files out there, pick one up, man. They're or anybody, they're good. Bird of Prey 5, $2. Gary, someone is talking about you over your audio. Oh yes, that was Jeremy. Yeah, and I couldn't hear him. And again, my apologies, everybody. There is something wrong with my settings. It's been screwed up for like a week. I'm gonna, yeah, I'll just have to fix it. I don't know. I've tried to mess with everything, so it might be a bug, and I'm just gonna have to get a new machine. You know what? Your channel, when your channel hits like 70,000 subscribers, it's time to stop being cheap and being, you know, I have got this POS computer I'm working on. It's time to bone up, and I just got, things are getting expensive. Things pile up. So I just booked Vegas for the Star Trek convention for my birthday. I'm bringing my entire family. We booked adjoining rooms, and we're going to be staying. I'm going to be staying at the Excalibur. Okay. And yeah, so we're going to do a meetup there. I'm going to try to get a place. I'm going to be at Comic-Con. I have not booked a hotel for Comic-Con. I might stay at my father-in-law's house, which is kind of far away, or I'm thinking of, if we do a meetup, maybe crowdfund a meetup so I can get a meetup location, maybe crowdfund so I can rent out like a coffee house or something like that. I'd rather not rent out a bar, but if I have to, I have to. I'll probably rent out a bar because I get more people there. But I might have to crowdfund that one because I'm going to Contact in the Desert too, and I just booked that. So I'm doing a lot of traveling, and I'll try to do meetups in all the areas I go to. Even if it's just one of us there having a cup of coffee and talking for 3 hours, I am completely down with that. Last San Diego Comic-Con, 2 people came to our meetup, and we hung out for 3 hours. It was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun. Damn it, Gary, pay attention. Someone's yammering you and annoying as fuck, brother Malachi. Yeah, sorry again. Sorry. sorry, as Odin says, $5. Bear Nerd Fun, $1. Thank you so much, Richard Wifus. Thank you again, Bear Nerd Fun. And he's got a channel too. Richard Wifus for $2. Neurovirus Jeremy says he loved the episode. He was kidding. The episode sucked. It absolutely sucked. May Troz, 50 Swedish crowns. If you want to see just how bad Benioff is, check out the Dragon Demands channel. Lots of depth info on how he effed up Game of Thrones. It's called the Dragon Demands. I will check it out. That is not one I've heard of. Preston Jacobs, Matros, Preston Jacobs. He's been against Dana Davey before I was. Okay. So long before I was. So that would be my go-to for if you want to know like how they screwed things up. Preston Jacobs has been doing a series of videos of what you missed. I think they're called What You Missed. And basically he points out all the good stuff in the books that the guys from the show left out. So again, Preston Jacobs, he has no idea who I am or anything, but go check him out. Brother Malachi, $5. Funny, I thought Jeremy would have got more viewers for RLM took a cowardly and cheap shot. Who's RLM? After RLM took a cowardly and cheap shot at him during Captain Whammon review they did. Who's RLM? Who took a cheap shot at Jeremy? I should probably know who RLM is. Somebody tell me in the chat. Who's RLM? Dave Bob wants to see Godzilla. Godzilla looks fantastic, Dave Bob. It looks really fantastic. Roberto Jose Gonzalez Flores says Preston is cool. Yeah, I like Preston. He's good. Who's RLM? Well, whoever took a cheap shot at Jeremy, that's fucked up. I didn't know about that. Yeah. Did you hear about the Starbucks coffee cup in Game of Thrones? Thundercats? Oh, yeah. I heard about it earlier and actually showed the picture. I will show it again before we leave. Thank you for the £2 super chat. Lonnie Holcomb, $2. You kind of reminds me of the Matrix trilogy payoff. Ha ha. That is a great point. Ah, that is a great point. We're headed right towards that, aren't we? Nicholas Horton, £2. Aren't there still plans for a Sinister Six? Yes. I think there will be a Sinister Six. I think Sony really, really wants that to happen, and so does Avia Red. Red Letter Media. Oh, did they take a cheap shot at Jeremy? Oh, I got to call them back. That's my car. Did they take a cheap shot at Jeremy? That sucks. Please review Ultraman, new on Netflix. It's awesome. I'll check it out. Michael Tanner, thanks. Dorne's LOL Dorne storyline. Enough said, says Christy Miller. Right. I can't argue with that. Ay, 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 ay. Okay, where was I? Yeah, and Nicholas Horton, I think Avi Arad is going to get his wish of Sinister Six, and it probably won't be good. The thing that should not be $10. Spider-Man was intended to be the face of the MCU when they made the deal with Sony. After they wanted to go with Captain Marvel being the face, which is more to do with DC Shazam movie than the actual SJW crap. I heard differently. The thing that should be, I know you are a very connected person, so I don't want to say you're misinformed or anything, but I would just use this. I don't think the MCU would choose Spider-Man as their face because they do not own him outright. It would just not be a wise move financially, because you'd have to rely on another company as your face of the MCU. That is taking a very bold step. And I just, if Kevin Feige is trusting Amy Pascal, then he's not as smart as I thought he was. So the face of the MCU, here's the deal with the face of the MCU. You almost can't choose it. They can try to choose it all they want. The reason Robert Downey Jr. became the face of the MCU was not because they chose him as the face, because he was the most charismatic. He was the best actor. Everybody gravitated towards him. The face of the MCU arguably only had one good solo movie. By all accounts, Captain America should be the face of the MCU because he's kind of the Superman. Plus, he had the best trilogy. He had the best 3 movies. Actually, I love his first movie. I love the first Avenger so much. All 3 of his movies were great. Winter Soldier being the best, of course, but he had the most solid trilogy. Now, Guardians of the Galaxy, I like Guardians of the Galaxy too. I know a lot of people didn't, but I did. So I don't think they can necessarily choose it. I think they are going to be a little experimental right now, and they're going to just kind of see what happens. They have an opportunity to rebuild things if they want to. That's going to have to see. That's the thing. That's the problem with shareholders. Shareholders are a big mouth that always has to be filled, and they're never satisfied. But really, the smartest thing to do would be, hey, we're going to make some movies, and not all of them are going to make $1 billion. But if you wait, we'll build towards something that will be a bunch of movies making $1 billion. If you're patient, we'll see if that happens, because that could certainly happen. You can introduce some characters, see what works, see what doesn't work. And by the way, did you notice the supernatural characters are going to TV? Because of China. Oh, I meant to show this to Doomcock the other day. So my sponsor gave me a bunch of comics, and he gave me this poster book. This is a Malibu Marvel poster book. This is like Tim Sale art right here. But you got to see who they teamed up, which is just, for one, you have the Tick and Prime and the Hulk. But the best one is this. Knightman and Ghost Rider. Co-created by my buddy Derek Robertson and Steve Englehart, of course. And of course, my favorite visual character, the Ghost Rider with Nightman. I was so happy to see that. All right, back to the super chats. Buy a new machine already. Haha, love your channel. Rick B, $2. I'm doing it this weekend. I probably should build one, huh? I should get my brainiac son to build me one. I just, you know what? I mean, like, I'm a dad. Okay. So me sending my son, who doesn't live with me anymore, down to Orange, who like $3,000 to build me a computer. I mean, I love my son. I trust my son, but I don't think I would see it right away. Let's just put it out there. I've been around. I don't. Maybe I should just get one. I'll get an expensive one or something like that. I don't. Again, money. D&D are directing the last 2 episodes. Oh God, no! What? No. No, they're not. They're writing it. Miguel Spotnik is directing the 5th episode. I don't know who's directing the last one. I think it's David Nutter. Who directed this last one. They are writing the last episodes. Yeah, I think they've written every episode or most of them. Norovirus Jeremy says JJ had Leia ignore Chewie. Did he? Yeah. Did they not even think of that, or did they cut it out? Well, that was to show how important Rey was. That was Mary Sueism 101 right now. Gary, let me see your water. Coffee? Sorry, Cleve Bourbon. Thank you for the $2. Richard Wetfuss, thank you for the $2. Rad Willie 1, thank you for the $2. The thing that should not be, yeah, I would love for Spider-Man to be the face over Captain Marvel. Let me just make that 100% clear. I would love it. That would be much better. Much better. But unless we get a freaking woke Spider-Man Far From Home with Zenyatta in it, and that little scene where she pops it was her, right? It was her popping the tourist in the balls. What's up with kicking people in the balls in the last 2 Marvel things I've seen? Wow, that's not sending a message, isn't it? Oh no, it's just a coincidence. They're not putting woke anti-male stuff in those movies at all. No, not at all. I don't condone violence in any way. Somebody smacks me in the jewels. There's just a reaction that comes with that. Sometimes it's ow and oh God, it hurts. And sometimes it's a swing. So be careful doing that to somebody. They don't want equality of pay. They want equality of pay, meaning everyone gets paid the exact same thing by the government, i.e. socialism says the thing that should not be. They certainly want globalization. That is for sure. If it was like globalization, like the Federation, like in Star Trek, like fantasy shit, maybe, but that's not. Unfortunately, globalization just means no leaders without accountability. Hell no, never, not in my lifetime. Richard Wetfuss, $2. Thank you again. Eric Burdick, think JJ is gonna be able to pull Star Wars out of the crapper? No, simply no. The only way Star Wars would be able to be pulled out of the crapper is if the original trio was put together at the end. It just seems like they're doing this movie to get it over with. It's not going to have any lasting legacy. The only lasting legacy that was a positive out of this trilogy was the fandom menace was born. That's it. Rick B, $2. Buy a new machine already. He already said that. Christy Miller, okay. Silhouetted Animator. The latest Game of Thrones had a Starbucks cups in one scene. Yes, it did. Silhouetted Animator. I will show that in just a sec. Thank you for the $2. Appearance of Freedom, $5. If Daenerys goes full Mad Queen, does everyone agree that the show's legacy is tarnished or favorably looked upon? Absolutely tarnished, because if they were good, that's something that needs a season to build up to. The thing that should not be $10. They made the deal for Spider-Man back when Disney was looking to buy another movie company. They considered buying Sony. Yes, they did. That's true. But they bought Fox, the original Star Wars and they bought Fox for the original Star Wars and the large content. Yeah. And it was just a better buy. You're right. They were thinking about buying Sony. You are correct. Pagliglio. Oh, wait, it's Pad. You told me how to well, I can't remember now. You said Pagliaco for $2. Was your ringtone 21 and 24's Mars Bringer of War? You win the no prize. Yes, my ringtone is the Venture Brothers 21 and 24 Mars Bringer of War. Well done. You are the first person to figure that out. Yes, I am a Venture Brothers fan. Ginormous Venture Brothers fan. Richard Wetfuss, $5. J.J. Abrams has Slusho in all of the TV series and films. This is true. Does this mean Dan and Dave will have Starbucks in Star Wars films? Probably. Luminara, 843 for $5. Hey, Gary, have you seen Hello Future Me's video rewriting the Battle of Winterfell? If so, what do you think? I saw the video and I intended to watch it, but I have not watched it yet. But I will tell you what I think next live stream. I will absolutely tell you. Yes. So we're gonna wrap it up. I gotta make my review video now. So it's time for me to make my Game of Thrones review video to come out tomorrow morning. Probably around. I'm a superstitious fellow, so my last Game of Thrones review video I released Tuesday morning, and it has over 300,000 views. So that's pretty awesome. I was not expecting that at all, and it's pretty awesome. Yeah. So I'm going to do the same. I've got to get to work on it. I don't know. I mean, like, I don't want to do a breakdown because nothing. It's like, yay, somebody got laid. Yay. Yeah. I mean, 6-episode season, and you do another filler episode, a build-up filler episode, and it's because of that they had to do something shocking. So they put 2 shocking things at the end so people would talk about it. And that is a trick, by the way. That's a trick that JJ does with his mystery box shit. He has something shocking happen at the end of an episode where nothing happened and people think, whoa. But if you put it under any scrutiny, it falls apart. Where is the witch that... where is the witch? There is always a witch and a price for fighting her. She died in the 3rd episode. She did. You know, you know how they could have brought in Melisandre if they wanted to be like the 2 Towers. They could have brought her in like Gandalf. So they're fighting. Everybody's like, looks like it's the end, and she brings her army from Essos. You know, at the first sunrise, look to the west. You know, and then you see Melisandre and an army from freaking Essos. And that gives Danny a bigger army. It's one little scene. It's a great callback to the 2 Towers in the Battle of Helm's Deep. And then it explains how they could have won the battle. And it explains why she came back. You don't want to know why they wouldn't do something like that? Money. They got cheap. They got fucking cheap at the end. And they screwed everybody over, and they said, these people will just lap up whatever we give them. And that's what happened. Why do you think Game of Thrones was good until now? I'm so upset. Can't watch bashing with you and Doomcock, even though I love the books and that show till now, but you guys are right. And we're upset too. And why did it go bad? They got cheap at the end, Mary. They got cheap at the end. And yeah, you know, if I feel cheated by a show, especially one I put, again, not a casual fan. If I was a casual fan, I just turn it off. You know, I've done, like I said, Lost. To me, Lost was going nowhere. I'm like, I'm not going to waste my time with this. I got better things to do in my life. And with Game of Thrones, they tricked me. They simply tricked us all. But that's where we will end it. I will say goodbye to everybody. Well, here, let's do the Patreon video real quick. We got time. Got to give my patrons their shout out. They deserve that. And then I'll read some more chat. Yeah, I'm sorry you can't watch the rage on Game of Thrones Mary. I mean, do you still like it? I mean, if you still like it, I understand, but it's just I clearly do not. Yeah, I mean, I was gonna have my nitpicks this year, but I just thought, God, the battle. I was fully expecting to go, man, those dragons fighting was awesome. I was expecting that, and I just didn't get it. But we certainly, the change also is, I know people like Cersei's costume, but have you noticed like people are wearing jackets now and like little leather strip things that they would never wear in medieval times? Like Jamie, like there's nobody with long hair. I mean, everybody had long hair. It wasn't easy to cut your hair back then. The noblemen and women would, of course, be able to have their hair cut, but man, most everybody else had long ass hair and beards because they weren't shaven every day. They would look like Tormund. Eric Burdick for $10. SJW feminism and political correctness is ruining entertainment, movies, video games alike. Mortal Kombat 11 with all females covered up and women being the hero or lone survivor in everything. And it's happening in everything by itself in one story here and there. No big deal. Nobody has a problem with that. But it's the problem that it is ending in everything. Everything has to have a woman of color who's a brilliant scientist. And it's just like, that's why I said when they start doing videos that mock our time this decade, 10 years from now, you're going to see it's going to be an army of women of color who are all out sciencing each other, fighting 300-pound Nazis and punching them out with one punch after they do science. Then they'll eat ice cream. So there we go. There we go. All right. Hey, everybody. Yeah, people are angry with the show. So I'm going to do my review video and hopefully I'll bring some new stuff to you so you'll watch it. Please like, share, and subscribe this and any videos that come out after this. Thank you to all the new subscribers who've come on. We have gotten almost 10,000 new subscribers in the last week, and that is phenomenal, beyond belief. And I hope to continue putting out work that is worthy of having you here. So I deserve your subscription. I will continue to work as hard as I can. And I definitely appreciate you here. And we also talk about good shows as well. So we've got The Expanse coming around, and hopefully the Orville will get picked back up. Altered Carbon season 2's coming. Venture Brothers will come out with another season eventually. And on my other channel, I am covering please subscribe to Nerdrotic Live, where I do the Game of Thrones pregame show and where I'm going to have my free speech, live stream. So until then, everybody, go to nerdrotic.com for my live stream schedule, and may the small folks sing songs of your greatness. Thank you.